Being able to draw figures in perspective is really easy, actually. Kinda. There's definitely levels to it, and some of the easier levels are, well, easier. This video will be mainly about those. There are 3 things you have to understand and be able to apply to draw figures in perspective, which are convergence, overlaps, and planes. Let's examine these individually. Before that, let me quickly cover the horizon line. This is an imaginary line that's at the same height as our eyes. Most of the convergence that's going to happen will be onto points on this line. Things that are below it, we're looking at from above. Things that are above it, we're looking at from below. You really don't need to know about it any more than this. I put this segment here because I'm going to be mentioning the horizon line throughout the video, so you don't get confused when you hear it. Convergence. If you know anything about perspective, you may know that things that are aligned on a straight line will start to converge into one single point in perspective. And as a byproduct of this, objects that have similar size would look as if they have different sizes. The ones that are further from your eyes or the camera seeming smaller, and vice versa. Both of these applies pretty straightforward to the human body. 2 things that are aligned on a straight line like shoulders, breasts, knees, and feet will now align on a tilted line. And all these tilted lines will be converging into one single point. Depending on the angle, the parts that are closer to the horizon line will look bigger and vice versa. Overlaps. You don't need to know anything priorly for this, really. If something is in front of another thing, it's going to overlap it, obviously. In the context of the human body, things that normally don't overlap each other will start doing it if the camera angle changes or some parts move. This could happen in extreme ways. But they could also happen in simple ways, where the ribcage blocks some of the hips and the lower body or breasts block some of the torso. I don't have much to say about this extreme way they happen. They do follow all the things I've mentioned. They're closer to the horizon line, so they're bigger than the rest of the body. And they also block some of the body. Pretty easy to understand, but hard to draw. I don't really draw stuff like this often, so I don't have a trick I can give you for them, really. You just have to practice. And planes. We don't have to think about these in a too complex way in this case. Sections of the body that's generally facing the same direction would be called a plane. Side plane, top plane, front plane. Depending on the angle and rotation, some planes and therefore parts that are on those planes that weren't visible will start to become visible and more prominent. The top plane not visible. As the camera angle changes, it becomes bigger and more prominent. Things like the connection part of the traps becomes more visible, and things like the neck becomes less visible. The other way around for the bottom plane. The bottom of the hips and the bottom of the breast will be visible. Another thing about planes is that they don't have to be visible to be recognized. Here, this is the top plane of the hips, for example. We can see the plane itself, but we can see its edges. And we can also see how its edges change as the angle changes. Almost straight, more curved. We could mark these literally everywhere on the body. They're called surface lines or contour lines. They could be a good landmark for you to place stuff like the breasts. Obviously these won't be visible on the body, but you should still train yourself to be able to see these and mark them on your guidelines. And also, even though there are no lines like this on the body, clothes would wrap around the body and act like these lines. Okay, I lied to you. There's actually a 4th and a 5th thing you need as well. 4th, a visual library. You see people and figures in mild or regular perspective all the time, be it just your daily life or all the media you consume. So you have a visual library for them, meaning you've seen them so much you have at least a vague idea of how they would look like. This isn't the case for figures in perspective. You don't really see them as much or only see them in specific situations. So you should actively try to see more of them. Make sure to look for pauses in perspective when searching references. If you run into a drawing by an artist, make sure to follow them or save it so you can check out their other works as well. Or if you see a manga or comic panel with a cool pose in perspective, make sure to screenshot it to try practicing with it later on. Also, use 3D models. No matter how much you look for it, the amount of free and good quality references for perspective will be limited. So you should get used to making your own. An app I would recommend for mobile devices would be EasyPose. It's a free app that also has a paid version. And on desktop, you can check Magic Poser. Just get started on these apps. Maybe try recreating photos you've seen first to get used to using them. And fifth, practice. You have to practice. The theory is kind of simple, but you need practice to be able to apply it properly. That's gonna be it for this video. You can check part 1 where I talked about more simple poses without perspective. Thank you for watching till the end. Have a nice day.